25 proposed budget. Roughly, if you look in the final budget under the proposed column, those proposed column numbers are roughly $600,000 less than what the actual proposed budget was. You know how the proposed numbers got changed?
Oh, the change for that.
Because after council only took actions to increase the sheriff's budget, it is still somehow decreased by $400,000 under what the executive's proposal was. And $40,000 under adult probation, similar story.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really understand what the point of me looking at a budget for 2 months. Spending every waking moment pouring through line item by line item somehow. You guys can just arbitrarily change those line items?
I'll get you some answers.
Yeah. How about $100,000 removed from the EMTA grant under grants to other organizations?
Now, I'm not gonna remember all these. Why don't you send me an email?
Yeah, well, we'll have a video, we can get you the copy of it. Just wanted to go through that because I don't know if anybody else got an opportunity to see the final budget, but it seems pretty clear that the issues needing litigation are not just vetoes for increase, that actually we have a problem where the proposed budget somehow changes. And now we have a new third budget. So we'll go straight to item number 1, resolution number 3, resolution directing council solicitor to file.
Before you go on,
Please.
Mr. Chair. How soon can we get a written list of those questions to them? Because I think that that's something that deserves a very, very, very quick response. I don't think that's something that you kick down the road for a week or 10 days. I think that's something that we should be able to get an answers almost as 24 hours, 48 hours after you submit those questions. And I have not, I did see that they posted on there, and I did actually have a conversation with the controller. There were some troubling things that I won't open up in here either, but I think it's will be in our best interest or the best interest of the county and its residents. If we get those questions answered, not like now, but like right now.
Chairman Copeland, if you wanted to repeat those, it looks like we had technical difficulties for the first moment or two of the meeting.
Yeah, let me go in here and tell you verbatim exact figures. All right, so we had $1,536,744 added to the fund balance appropriate from the gaming fund to pay for the duplicate transfer, but it comes up short of paying for it. This actually looks like an action sheet that the administration gave to us and asked us to run, and we didn't bring up for consideration. That somehow an action sheet that we never deliberated on, never voted on, never saw the light of day has been applied. It's a big problem.
We'll get you an answer.
That's $605,232,000. $605,232 of municipal gap fund removed. $105,400 removed from the EMTA grant. I'll go ahead and email these to you because I've got a nice little list here. Colin, I'm sure you've come across some more that this is 2 hours looking through the budget, and I found 20 some line items that were really concerning.
Yes.
That do not reflect in any way the actions of council. Period. I sat there for all those votes. I know what was voted on and those weren't voted on.
Yes, we are currently working on a list, comparing, council's budget that was passed to the administration's proposed budget and the final budget, that is on the, county website. As well as we're comparing it to the resource that is available to all county residents, open budget that is used for reporting as well. And we are finding discrepancies from the admin proposed budget to the final budgets, with the proposal figures not even lining up correctly. And we'll be sending that list to you as we come across and compile more together.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Paul, I haven't looked at the budget that was posted online either. But I do know that the administration directed the assessment office to not, to stop sending out or preparing tax notices based upon council's 7.12 figure for the tax mill increase. And instead, he gave them a number 6.61. My question is, where does that number come?
Get you an answer.
Pardon?
I'll get you an answer to that.
Well, I mean, obviously, it should be based upon the tax revenues in the budget that's already been posted. Right? I mean, we need to raise enough revenues to pay for the expenditure.
Mhm.
If the budget has been posted in line, then there's no way to arrive at a proper tax mill without understanding the underlying line items and the revenues that they're generating, right? So right now, you don't know where that the number that the administration directed the assessment office to use in sending out the tax notices,
Yes,
you do not know.
6.61.
Okay, but you don't know where that number came
I do. I'll get you a written answer.
from. Okay, is there a reason why you can't tell me now?
I think it'd be better that way.
All right. Maybe tomorrow? Okay, thanks.
Well, one last thing. Since you brought it up. That millage increase represents about $7.4 million. In the budget as put forward by council. And so I think it's probably fair to say that you'll get us an answer as to who in that budget doesn't get funded for that $7.4 million that we didn't get in property taxes.
Well, the budget becomes a big pot of money, so I don't know who exactly would not get funded or would get funded.
That doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
just-
We appropriated line item by line item for a department.
Mhm.
And what you essentially did, or the county executive has effectively did, was extract $7.4 million that we appropriated to pay for those items. And so without that, where is that money anticipated to come from?
I'll get you an answer.
Moving on to table item number 1. Resolution number 3, directing council solicitor to file suit to enforce the 2025 annual budget and joint administration's illegal tax collection efforts. Would you like to speak to that at all?
Well, at my suggestion and with council's approval and their approach, the chairman took a letter to the county executive in a spirit of cooperation, asking for a meeting between the two, between council and the administration and his cabinet, so that we could try to work out some kind of resolution to some of these larger $2.5 million items. That didn't go over very well because the administration's response, you could pick and choose your letter or your Facebook response, but they were negative and they were in the attack mode. And after reviewing them, it was my feeling that trying to meet and sit down and talk at the same table as the executive would be foolhardy and a waste of time. So I recommended to Terry that the council just take the issue off the table and vote it, and we'll file suit next week.
And I don't know if you're aware of this, I think it was yesterday morning when I received a text from the county executive. And the text was, would you like to come and meet on the child care issue that we got going, that we approved the money for? I texted back just to the child care issue. He said, no, we can sit down and talk about the budget also. At that time, I sent back that I'll let you know after finance, where we're gonna go. with this. At this point, we see where the letter is. I don't think there's no good faith. He didn't want to come down here. We wanted it down here for the council people that quit making, they could zoom in. And that's, didn't want it, evidently didn't want to come down here, but I find it fruitless, even attempt. I don't want to sit and negotiate something that's gonna affect something we already want. And change that,
One,
so I, in full steam ahead, lost.
Well, if you're gonna sit down with anybody and try to get, and cooperate, you know, you have to do it in good faith. And I don't see where there's any.
Well, his suggestion was bring one Republican and one Democrat. And I think
When you.
everybody in council should be in these negotiations, and whoever he wants to bring with him.
When you reference the child care money, which batch of money?
The $2.5 million that
The gaming.
gave for it.
Yeah, no, that's one where we overrode his veto. So that was 2 months ago.
And supposedly that check is sitting on his desk. And it's gonna be brought out Tuesday. We'll see.
I will include that in the lawsuit that I filed.
All right, I forgot you were here, you could have said that.
well, and I think, that lawsuit needs to now be amended. Where now we don't just have vetoes for an increase in the budget, vetoes to try to default. The budget to the proposed budget, but now we have new invented proposed numbers that. Council has never yet seen before.
Correct.
We have, new council actions that are ascribed to us that we never took a vote on.
And
So,
apparently no accounting procedures to account for any of it, to where we have to wait and we can't get an answer from our finance director. But some of us should be pretty basic stuff. And so, it's very, very troubling, to say the least. And I'll echo what I echoed all last year. I think this county needs not just a spot check audit, but we really need the Attorney General to come in and see exactly what's going on with Erie County's finances. Because there's a problem, not the Attorney General, excuse me, the Auditor General.
To your point, Mr. Chairman. I've anticipated that, and that can be a problem. I could always place some of the discrepancies that the accountants in have found. I'm sure that there are more. I don't know whether you're looking at going through the entire budget. If we have a half a dozen examples in that large budget of discrepancies between what council did and what the administration did, and if new numbers are popping up, that could be replete throughout the entire budget, and going through the entire budget to match out, to determine whether the numbers match or not, could take forever.
Oh, that was one of and you're correct, I mean, we are currently looking at the admin's proposed budget. That was what we originally handed well before council passed that budget. Then obviously council took its action and made the changes, voted and appropriated the money as they saw fit. And then there is now the budget that we are seeing on the county's website. We're finding that budget 1, the first budget, is not aligning with budget 3, which is not aligning with budget 2. There's inconsistencies across all 3 budgets, where it's hard to reconcile the numbers in any capacity across all 3. It's effectively 3 separate budgets at this point in time, is what we're finding. So to your point, and trying to reconcile the differences, we know what council has done in the action that they took, whether via the action sheets on the proposed budget, and we could speak to what actions were taken. But to reconcile the actual differences of what posted, it will take a long time, but there are many inconsistencies and errors. Or just outright incorrect.
Well, I propose that you and Rob provide me with what we have so far, so that I could have them by Monday, so that I could incorporate them into the complaint. We could always amend the complaint later on, once we have further data.
Those numbers aside, it appears not to be any guide rails, bumper guards on there to make. For anyone to make heads or tails of. So I align with what our solicitor is saying. I think that we should do it with haste.
Mr. Chair, in the last time this came up, when it was voted on the table, I was a hard no. I wanted to sue right away. The administration has shown no good faith whatsoever to want to bring anything to light, to the table, to negotiate. And clearly, we're getting the same puppeted response that we're gonna bring you an answer. They know the answers already. Paul can answer these questions right now. He doesn't want to make it a matter of public record. We don't negotiate with terrorists, and that's really what this feels like. I think, we need to file this lawsuit. We should prepare what we have found in these inconsistencies in the budget, bring them to the Auditor General and force them to, come to the table.
Thank you, Chris.
Mr. Chair, I know that we have discussed in the past, the idea of, taking a letter to the county controller. Not that but we also discussed the possibility of the Auditor General. Which is it, and which would council want to do?
I think we should alleviate the concerns that we've had on council as to whether the controller has the capability. I had a personal conversation and they very much assured me that they do not have the staff to do the labor intensive audit that we would be talking about. But I think it would be appropriate to take a letter there just to be official about it, and then be prepared to take one to the auditor.
There's, the council doesn't have to go to the county control. They may have that option, but if the county controller has already stated to you that he doesn't have the people to tackle that, why not just go ask the Auditor General for an investigation?
He can start tackling this list, can he?
Hmm?
He can start tackling this list, can he? He can't do a complete review of the budget, but some of these issues that we have, why don't we forward those to him?
That would be a good idea. That would-
He's tackling some of those issues as we speak. I spoke with him briefly after the retirement pension board yesterday, but I'm inclined again to agree with our solicitor, and we should move without delay. We should ask the Auditor General. I think it's enough evidence, like a year or two or three. It's worth of evidence to figure out that this is a mess. and we should absolutely seek a solution. And the best solution going forward is to check your tail, man. You learn that basic retail. You're working at Kaufman's. You don't take over the drawer without checking your till. And so when you check your till and you find out it's inconsistent, usually there are checks and balances in place where you can say, okay, well, this didn't work. That's the Gatsby stuff. They come in and they tell you, oh yeah, we follow these procedures are being followed and we didn't find anything. Well, this ain't that. This is something entirely different. And so if for nothing else, the $7.4 million that he sits here today and tells us on a millage letter that they stopped from going out and sent out. And he sits here with the audacity to tell us with a straight face that he'll get us an answer when he knows the answer right now. And that's that $7,400,000 isn't going to just magically appear. We want to know what we asked the administration what their thinking is. And we didn't get a response, and they have no inclination or desire to work with us, and we should stop playing around and just try to get to the solution at hand.
Mr. Chair. To Mr. Bale's point of us going to the controller first and then he can look at these things, sort of done with the delay tactic.
It's his job.
We've brought it to him already, we've been given an answer. and we're done with the delay tactic to the administration. Okay, so again, I think we're gonna move forward, we're gonna take a vote or whatever we're gonna do here, and yeah, we're just done. This is, the people of this community, the taxpayers deserve better than this. What they've been through for the last 3 years is unconscionable. If I was running a business like this, I mean, it'd go out of I'd be out of business already. This is ridiculous. He's putting social services, human services, real life people in a dangerous situation. And the possibility of us not having proper funding for things that this community needs, and he's doing it at their expense and to benefit his political motivation. That is very clearly what's happening here, and the people they deserve better, and I was elected to represent them. We're gonna move forward.
Mr. Chair, as far as what moving forward means, aside from filing a lawsuit. Do you want to put a resolution on the agenda?
Yes.
For this Tuesday? To refer the matter to the Auditor General?
Yes,
Yes.
show of hands, I think it's proper that we just do it, show of hands, because clearly we have a split council. And not everyone agrees with it, and some seem to think it's a personal thing, and I don't care who sits upstairs on the 5th floor. Council to not protect council's authority and to not fulfill the oath that one has taken to do so is kind of nauseating. Just like it's like you can't work at McDonald's and wear Burger King uniform. Just can't. And I mean, you can, but it doesn't look right. And we can all agree it don't look right. And so nothing you can do or say will normalize the behavior that's taking place in this building and what it's done to the morale of the workforce in this building. It's horrendous. And so, but I don't want to pontificate without giving everyone the option to say that that's the course of action that they desire to take or not to take.
Move forward.
And for the record, I'm fine with transparency. I'm fine for getting an answer from there. My concern is that these policies and procedures that are allowing it, if it's gotten to this point, the controller is the rails for that. That's an elected official that oversees the processes and procedures. They're a check and a balance. So
It's kind of
apparently there's
messed up when there's so many egregious things wrong that even the controller says I cannot possibly tackle the depth of how much horrible stuff there is.
And they're not part of the 3-legged stool, which happens to be the executive branch, the legislative body, and the courts, although they are a variable. And I think that that's what's really about. If we want to talk about accountability, I think that lies squarely at our feet. And when we couldn't decide, we've taken it to the second leg of that 3-legged stool of accountability, in that we've been in court since 2023, which we won. And we're going to keep deflecting and delaying and kicking it down the road, and ultimately we'll win again. But at what cost? The damage is done. You got ARP money, you have real life consequences. You still got people ODing out here dying on fentanyl. You still got 21-year-olds still out here shooting people. We want to be economic development. You got our workforce is decimated. No one wants to work here. We can't even talk to the department heads without an attorney. And everyone's walking around like that's normal. It's crazy as hell.
You left out the opioid settlement.
And the opiate settlement money's going out the door. We don't know where that's going.
In interest of the other people's time, it's okay, if we
Fair.
move on. I appreciate everyone else's patience. Number 2 on the agenda, ordinance of Erie County authorizing, directing the execution and delivery of a guarantee agreement for the, let's just get the $700,000. Who's speaking, Tim or Mike?
Yes, I'll call in with the bank.
Okay.
Hi, Colleen Tabor.
Good one.
So what we have before you today is the, approval for the guarantee for Pleasant Ridge Manor's letter of credit, which supports their workers' compensation program. Unlike in past years, where it was just an annual, renewal that we would do, this year we're doing a 3-year, letter of credit. So we are looking for the guarantee for the 3-year, for the full 3-year period.
This is the standard deal that we've done every year for the last number of years, except with the 3-year extension. And would ask that you agree to a second reading, so we get it all done at the next meeting.
What's driving the 3-year line of credit?
It's a cost savings. for
Yeah.
Pleasant Ridge Manor.
We thought that this would, and it's, reduces the administrative work that has to be done on an annual basis. And, even though we are increasing the annual commitment fee from 1% to 1.25%, the incremental increase is negligible. And when you factor in the other costs associated with this, annual renewal, it's about even.
Yeah, basically you're saving on me. I mean, it's literally costs that they're not gonna have to pay on an annual basis.
Want to see
Correct.
for 2 more years?
Yeah, not on this issue, sir, no. It's, there's additional filing fees, in the Department of Community and Economic Development you won't have to pay. And I mean, it'll save, $4,500 over the course of the next few years.
Mike, do you have anything to add?
We're hopeful to do the 3 years, we see it as cost savings too.
And the $700,000 amount has remained consistent for a number of years. And the department, the state would notify Pleasant Ridge Manor if that amount needs to be adjusted, and they have kept it at, the same $700,000 level.
If I might add, it's only just a guarantee, there's not actual indebtedness incurred.
I remember this was one of the first things last year.
Heard that before.
You good?
No.
Good, get started.
So is that an agreement? We would do a waiver of the second reading, so we get it all done next week. That impacts my advertisements that I have to file with the.
I don't have any issue with that. I'll make that motion as the meeting on Tuesday.
Sure.
Can we move it to a second here in this meeting, or do we do that on the dais in the meeting?
With a potential diets.
Okay, but yes, I'll make that.
Thank you. You've done it in the past. I just,
You have to move it from the diets.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then finally, first 2025 general fund budget supplemental appropriation, $227,789 for line items in juvenile probation. Mr. Vitale?
Good afternoon, everybody. I think this is just a perfunctory exercise this afternoon. Some of the money that we had in our supervision fund fee budget was inadvertently removed in the 2025 budget. And we're just requesting that it go back in again so we can spend some money on some automobiles for the adult probation department. I will say, just throw some gasoline on the fire, I will say that one of the other costs that you'll see in our budget is to buy some new computers for the adult probation department. And that came about because our new hire, if you haven't had the pleasure to meet Bree Hoffman, our new IT director for the courts, one of the things that we charged her with, the first major thing we charged her with was to do a complete review of the entire court's IT systems. Our prior IT director, Keith Brader, was a fantastic county employee, those that knew it was here for 30-some years. If he did have one fault, it was that he was a little bit of an old school IT guy and put a lot of band-aids on things over the years. So from a, from the taxpayer standpoint, he was a great public servant. But Bree has been able to uncover a lot of problems and challenges and concerns that we have. So I will be sort of letting council know at some point in the future, we're going to be coming back to you with a couple of things, and probably to the administration as well, seeking some funding to maybe add to our IT staff and to rearrange some things. If you don't mind, I'd like for you to talk to you just for a couple of minutes so you have an idea. I'm off topic slightly with this supervision fee money, but I thought they were connected sufficiently with the new computers. The reason why we need new computers in the adult probation department is because their operating systems will seek to work starting in October of this year. They're all old, they're 9 years old, and they can't be updated to Windows 11. And Windows 11 is necessary in order to go forward with all of our software and the proper security protections that are necessary to be in place. So it's a critical thing that gets done. And the adult probation supervision fee money is going to pay for the adult probation computers. But if you have literally 5 seconds to listen to Bree, to tell you a little bit about what our concerns are, so we come back to you again at some point in the future, at least you have some idea what we're talking about, get out of the game.
Our biggest issues come into, like he said, everything is definitely well out of its standard age range. Your PCs are not usually gonna go 9 years, and we would have even pushed them if there was a security purpose for it. Once they moved from Windows 10 to Windows 11, they'll no longer support security, and then all of that data that is for the taxpayers, for our offices, becomes at risk because our systems are not updated enough to keep them safe. So we did have to move over to Windows 11 in order to do that, and adult probation was able to help us with the fees. Above and beyond that, in order to get these things in place, you need manpower. The court's IT staff is 6 members, including myself, which takes care of roughly 460 users through the county. So it's approximately a third of the staff members for the county staff, and we have 6 IT members to take care of that. I have several concerns on that. Both it's just the manpower of being able to do things, but then there's also the concern of speciality. IT can be a very special systems. You need to know what you're looking at, how to update them properly, and we need to have the specialists to do that. We work with county IT where we can, but we need to have our own manpower on our side to take care of our systems. Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I would demand that you be independent. And on any funding that I would support, that you be independent of the county's IT department. And I would look for a formal relationship, be a MOA or whatever, with the IT courts IT system, so that we never have what we had happen during the election again, and that we're always able to fulfill the charge that we're charged with from the Department of State, and that we don't have the administration and what's proven to be his IT department and not the county's IT department stand in the way of us doing our job. And so, and I know this stuff is outdated. I'm waiting for the administration to give us the phone list too, because all of that stuff's outdated too. And I think I told you last year, that's gonna be like a 1.36 million, probably higher. Now, and thank God you're here to hear the financial mess that we have. So if we have to tell you no on some of that stuff, you understand why as well.
Yes, of course. And the infrastructure we want to make sure that we keep infrastructure separate. Save where we can, where data does not cross over, where those things are not relying on each other, but save the taxpayer where we can. But it does include separate infrastructure in order to make sure that those pieces.
Yes, Bob, does the court system have its own website?
Not as of, we've got a page on the county website, but Bree and I have had discussions about possibly starting our own website, or maybe adding on the website, the other elected officials that work underneath the court's IT department. Those you don't realize, the clerk of records and all their staff is under the court's IT department, the district attorney and all their IT needs fall under the court's IT department. The sheriff and all their IT needs fall under the court's IT department. And there have been preliminary conversations. I think everybody understands about possibly taking on council and the elections bureau. I spoke to the president, Judge Walsh, about that. He's given me direction to work closely with everybody and see what we can work out, which is part of the reason why we're coming back to council and the administration for some additional funding of those responsibilities are added on to the court systems. But
Do you have access, do the courts have access to the county website?
we have access to, I suspect the same way that other elected officials, other departments have, through the administration. And there's an IT person that we communicate with, and we want them to make changes or adjustments to our page. We're not autonomous, but we have a line of communication with the administration's IT department.
So you don't have your own staff to fix IT problems.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things we did, centralize IT, pull all the IT into one unit. And I was here for that. It makes me gag to think that I supported that. But I think that going forward, you really should be looking to have your own server and your own intel. For obvious reasons, you should have it anyway with the sensitive information that you deal with up there on people's lives. But you should never be held hostage. And for that matter, neither should county. Once we start looking back at that three-legged stool of accountability, we're not there to hold each other hostage. We're there to build each other up and keep a level playing field. And I don't think clearly you don't feel that from my discussions with the president judge around election time, clearly we all come to understand that it's not a level playing field.
I have one more question, Bob. Why do you think that the court should have its own website?
Well, so autonomy with our court system, and again, I think everybody in this room that knows me, I've been preaching this for the last 7 years, I've been a court administrator. I really feel that the courts as a third but equal branch of government should have autonomy. So, and it's not a unique concept. I mean, it's fairly consistent across the Commonwealth. So, you know, we want to put on what we want to put on. We wanted to be able to do it in our time. We want to give Rita the ability to focus and concentrate on the things that we think is important for the effective administration of justice. So maintaining our own system just allows us that autonomy and freedom to drive the bus the way that we want to drive it without any outside influence. And quite frankly, I think the Constitution and the law reflects that, requires that. It's not a unique concept, so.
Okay, and not on the agenda, but I wanted to address this. I can't believe that I'm needing to address something as vapid as social media. It would pass these actually, give me one second. I put together this ordinance, Karen has done some edit on it, although the article and section reference needs to get changed. And Tom has, I believe, spent some time reviewing the document and might need to have some changes for legal compliance. There was a social media page made by the Erie County official government page, attacking 4 Democrats in council in a very politically charged, derogatory, definitive social media post. Chris, I thought said it really well to me. He's like, we're all employees of Erie County. We're all elected officials in Erie County. Like that Erie County page is not the administration. It's not Brent Davis, the county executive. It's not, I mean, it just is, it's all he was just saying. It's the 9 judges, right? 9. It's the row offices. It's the DA, it's the sheriff, it's the clerk of records, like it's all of us. And I can't believe that a resource that was supposed to be dedicated to informing the public, telling them that the courthouse is closed, there's an epidemic, there's an emergency, you know, information that's like helpful to constituents to see. And now a whole bunch of them are maybe not gonna wanna follow that anymore and get that valuable information because it's been turned into a political cudgel. And I was really frustrated by it. Chris and I talked a lot about what to do about it. I was talking with a lot of my friends. Put together this ordinance that would prohibit elected or appointed officials from using social media accounts, websites, email systems for partisan political messaging, campaign promotion, or election-related endorsement, county facilities, equipment, funds, or personnel for any activity that promotes or opposes a political candidate, ballot initiative, or party, or using county seals, logos, or branding in any communication which implies political support or opposition. And seeks to limit behavior to avoid language that attacks or disparages other elected officials, government bodies, or private citizens based on political affiliation. So obviously that post came out after the agenda came. And I would like your support in moving this on sideways to be in a meeting on Tuesday. I think it still needs some edit on the part of the solicitor. I'd love to hear his thoughts and opinions on this, but look, this is not a partisan thing. This could be a Democratic county executive criticizing the Republicans here. Tomorrow it could be the county executive criticizing the sheriff or criticizing the clerk of records, criticizing a judge, which I don't think he would dare, but I don't criticize people that put me in jail. But yeah, I think it's a really overdue where I think there were something like 78 comments on that page and 76 were like, what is this? Why is this being used for political messaging? I have a campaign page, I certainly know Mr. Davis does, and I don't think I'm ever gonna stop him from flapping his mouth. It's not gonna happen. But don't use the official county page to do it.
And don't use employees, because then it enters into a whole nother realm. You're using employees to do political work. I think that crosses the line even more, and I think there's case law on that. Wow, that might even cross over into something criminal.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
as a side note to that. It's even more evident, like, you all remember Snowmageddon, right? Nothing was put on the county page, it's good information about Snowmageddon. We were directed to go to the political campaign page of the county executive of Erie County for residents to get vital information about what was going on in the middle of tragic situation, weather event, right? He chose that moment, right? That moment to direct people to come to the re-election campaign page of Brenton Davis. What is that? He was wearing the county logo, using the county logo. So that's part of my motivation. When you refer to that post, what I told Rob was it makes it seem as if the county hates those 4 Democrats. Like we're here, we get paid pennies to be here considering how much time and effort we put in. We're here because our heart's to take care of the community, we're elected officials. It's insulting to have an attack come from your own boss. And if it was in a company, we'd be talking as this being an HR incident. And I'm not so sure I can't look at the county as being sort of an HR situation, right? You wanna use and weaponize county funds, county information site to attack employees within the county is a very clear ethics violation. And that should be dealt with as well. So.
Remember, he's not our boss.
Doesn't matter.
Just saying, I know, but
He's using it to attack us. You know what? You're a Democrat. Your name wasn't on there. Why?
I don't know. I didn't even see it, but then I'm not a
You sure?
Facebook. Never saw it.
Why not? Why was it? Why didn't it include all Democrats? Why is there only 4 that are?
I don't know what it said or how much. This is the first time actually hearing about it.
Okay.
I'll share. It's frustrating.
But I'm 100% in support of this matter.
No, it's not. We don't campaign from the dais. We don't do that. It's a disgusting behavior and it needs to stop.
Well, it's not just an ordinance for now, it's an ordinance for down the road.
Sure.
So this is
Yeah.
done properly, no matter who's the county executive, no matter who's the county council.
And I would say the same would apply to the judges, if you guys got your own independent website or whatever is, would be a binding thing to all of us. Treat each other as equals.
Yeah, could you imagine going on there saying, them 4 judges on there ain't, president judge didn't do. Todd ain't doing his job. While he's inadvertently moving money from your budget.
Mr. Talerico, did you have anything in there that was, I know you were gonna, we talking about looking at it, I don't know how, what degree you have.
Yeah, I look at it, it's fine. I was concerned about any kind of political speech violation, First Amendment violation, but it's all tied to work. So.
If something comes up, it can always be amended too, right?
Yeah. It can.
I
But it-
welcome input.
But it doesn't run afoul of the First Amendment, not when you're prohibiting the political act, you're actually prohibiting conduct, including political activity, with using county resources. So,
There
I
may
mean,
be,
it doesn't prevent him from continuing to do what he wants to do on his own, like Trump uses Truth Social. I mean, it's the same thing as he using.
Perfectly
Facebook.
acceptable.
Yeah.
He has his
there
own.
may even already be a policy in place, from IT on behavior on, online, on government or on, property or equipment. Most companies have just a basic thing, you can't do this, it prohibits you from doing personal or social while you're at work or whatever. So chances are his communications officer printed it for him. Did it for him, since that's who kind of runs the county page, I guess.
Well, it's a big issue that this country is gonna see it play out. Probably for the next 2 years, it'll play a
Yeah,
bit.
good guy.
Started with the internet and people can say whatever they want. That's our First Amendment. But we never thought that there'd be so many people that say so many bad things. So it's a problem. Don't know how it's gonna work out.
So we'll clean up, the section numbers, article, things like that, and put it in the right style, so it'll be uploaded for the next agenda.
We'll have to figure out where in the administrative code place.
Right.
Maybe under the election code part. Maybe under the election board area, but it's pretty general. It doesn't justify the campaigns.
There's an ethics, forget the title, it's like an ethics or conflict of.
There's a conflicts of interest.
Conflicts of interest section, I think that might fit well there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Jim?
Like to call a personnel meeting to order.
Hurry up.
You done yet? First on the agenda, ordinance number 8, 2025. 2025 appointed official salary ordinance, part-time assistant public defender. We had our first read on 2/11/25. Number 2, possible appointment of Jennifer G. Kubiak. If this isn't overqualified, nothing is, but PMP, MSOL, AIS, AINS, ACS,
It's a whole lot of.
IIP, DAE, CLP-A to the Erie County Library Advisory Board. Wow.
And there is
Sounds like a
key,
rated
there is a
system.
key on the, on the resume that says.
And I'll look at that just
Before
because.
Tuesday.
It's got a lot of certificates.
Term to expire December 31st, 2027. This appointment was brought forward by Mr. Copeland. Number 3, possible appointment of Mary Jane Gilson to the Erie County Care Management. Term to expire December 31st, 2027, brought forward by Ms. Schauerman. Number 4, possible appointment of Donald P. Claypool to the Erie County Children and Youth Advisory Board. This appointment will run concurrent with Councilman Bale's term and will expire on December 31st, 2025. That was brought forward by Mr. Bale. That's all I have. Any comments from anyone?
It took too.
I know.
Do you have any like hot topics you wanna touch?
Oh. Motion to adjourn?
No, we got an.
Whoa.
Oh, we're gonna do it. Motion to adjourn. Go
Motion
to
for
executive session.
Did you look at today's Facebook page? It's on. The person.